second meeting.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Give it a
Rise
couple
or
hours and I'll probably do it.
Jeff, pledge allegiance to the second meeting, not the first.
Yes, correct. Yep.
How is your driveway?
It's horrible.
I bet.
It's horrible. We have like a 900-foot driveway, but you have to go down through
Oh,
and
you could
then back up.
Like, when I saw how much snow was outside our house and I didn't know like where the landscaping was at, I was like, how are the pieces going to this back?
We have a outside. That's fine. Yeah.
Clears the path.
Yeah.
So I was really excited.
Felt pretty tough. Hey, Kelly, when you go through the financials and stuff on here, do you have the exact same thing popped up that we do?
I do.
Okay. Oh, you do hard copy? Yeah, yeah. Do you have page numbers on them?
Isaac.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always
She's flipping, I'm looking.
page 35, 37. It took me a long.
Uh-huh.
going to move forward with calling to order the finance meeting for today. Start with new business.
Yeah, so as is customary, this time of year, we have our annual board a finance meeting. We only have a couple of agenda items here. First up is election of officers. So we have to elect officers for the Board of Finance. It doesn't have to be this way, but typically in the past, the board members made a motion to essentially adopt the same officers for the Board of Finance as you do for regular offices.
What's the thought from the board today? Ed and I talked about it. We have some, but I didn't know if anybody else was interested in taking a higher position in that regard.
I'm good with staying as is.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So what do we need here?
So
Motion?
someone to make a motion to essentially mirror the officers
All right.
of the regular board and the second and then a vote.
Yep. We need a motion to mirror the offices as it is.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any conversation, any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you. The second is a reporting of Greencastle Community School Corporation investments. Is this here in this package? Okay. Obviously, as a public entity, we are limited in our options of investing our funds because we have to obviously keep them safe. So we don't have any, big investments like CDs or bonds or anything like that. But I do want to report
That's what you want.
that was our interest. That our interest for the year, just from our accounts, just over $403,000, $403,840.11. So that has really helped as a buffer with a little bit of that decrease in student enrollment. The interest rates have been very positive the past couple of years. You can see that our estimated income, we estimated $90,000. We're very conservative with that because we always know that the market is changing, and moving forwards, as rates change, we may not generate as much revenue from interest in the future. So overall, all in all, that's a big positive, and just wanted to share that with you.
Where's that allocation go?
In the past, we've put some in the education fund, but currently we're allocating it to our operations fund, help with operations. So we've gone between the both of those.
Gotcha.
And then there's no action I'm taking on that. And then the next item is that draw your attention to the screen. You also have the handout in front of you. It's required by statute that the board be provided a copy of the Distressed Unit Appeals Board, the fiscal indicators. So this is something that was put into law 5, 6, 7 years ago. I can't remember exactly when some school districts were getting into trouble financially and having kind of an entity overlook that. School system of Gary, school system of Muncie, state went in and kind of took them over and kind of rescued them. So this is a report that I have to share with you, and we always talk about during this meeting. Next slide, please, Stacy. That's just the general information. All of this information is available publicly online as well. So those are just some of the things we'll look at. Next slide. Just an informational page with our 24-25 student count, our 25 net assessed value for our taxing district, total estimated population, and you can even see in the picture there's a link to any of our school audit reports. Those are all available on that website. The other thing that is important to note with these fiscal indicators, they are a year in arrears. So you will notice that when we look at these. So kind of have to look at it. Are they valuable? Maybe kind of sort of, but more or less the check marks that we do along the way that are more current and more up to date are more important. Next slide. Just a graph showing trend of ADM over time from 15, 16, 24, 25 from the two different counts. Nothing crazy different from kind of what we're seeing with statewide trend is net overall decrease of enrollment. Next slide, please. This slide is a picture of each of the years. This is for all different funds. So this would be our local funds, so like our property tax funds. This would include education fund. This would include federal funds that we receive, such as ESSER, grants, all those kinds of different funds, as well as our state funds. That are funds from local property taxes, and you can kind of see how those had kind of played out over time there. Next slide, please. Excuse me. You can see an annual comparison of revenue versus expenditure, so deficit, surplus. So typically, you don't want to see any lines or any yellow bars going down beneath the baseline, because that means that overall, all funds combined, that you spent more than what you brought in. And in most years, you never want to do that, but you definitely can't do that in consecutive years, because essentially you're going to eat away at all your cash balances. And so you can see our revenues in green, and over time they've gone up. You can see really from, I think I've been here since 19, or I can't remember if I came in 19 or 20. I think it was 20. You can see that our expenditures have also increased over time, but our revenues increased. But for the most part, you can see that yellow up above, to where we're balancing our books and being good stewards of our finances, which is important to do. And that's how we're able to give staff increases. It's how we're able to take care of our buildings and things of that nature. And it's only going to become more important moving forwards. Next slide, please. This is just a ratio. It's fund balance as a percent of your overall expenditures. And again, you can see we've done a good job of really since 2020 building up some of our cash reserves to protect for some of those tough times that we're going to experience over these next few years with Senate Bill 1 or Senate Enrolled Act 1, just some of the changes. So you can see that we've increased our cash reserves considerably, which will help with that. And the last slide that I have here on my presentation, and as I mentioned, that we receive funds from the state. We receive funds through local property taxes, but we also receive funds from federal sources. And so this is just a picture to kind of help characterize the different funds we receive and how much those are. And you can see, as they should be, the majority of our funds we receive from the state and through our local property taxes. In essence, that's all that I have to share.
The debt revenue?
What's that? Debt revenue is green.
Yeah.
And yes. And I don't know why it's characterized by a little more of a thin line there.
Okay.
But there hasn't been anything like anything that's been like an anomaly or anything like that. But yeah. It's been pretty consistent. Yep. Yeah, so that. But outside of that, again, you go to Google, you search DUAB fiscal indicators. This report will pop up with all that information. I just wanted to share that with you. Unless you have any other questions on that.
Just echo what Jeff is saying. The DUAB is a great site to go on, and you can look at any school district in the state, see how we compare in the county, full of data that is pertinent to what we're doing here. So I appreciate this always, and I do think it's important as board members that you kind of get on there and look around, see what they have. There's more here in it's got great information. Again, compare
DUAB.
DUAB. Yep. You have to navigate through the school system. I mean,
Yeah, you can select the school corporation because not everyone's fiscal indicators are as positive as others. Because there are a lot of schools that are hurting financially.
Yep. Any other comments, thoughts? Anything anybody wants to address? All right. Jeff, anything from you?
Nope. Just entertain a motion to adjourn the annual Board of Finance meeting.
Do you feel pretty good where that's at?
What's that?
Do you feel pretty good where we're at?
I feel pretty good where we're at financially. Yeah, we've done a good job the past few years. Things were not in great shape in 2020. We had just over $780,000 in our education fund. We're at like what 3.8 million today.
I think the buildup of the rainy day fund has been
That too
a big plus too.
It's been that gradual just adjustment, just evening everything out, staffing, all the stuff that Jeff's been talking about since 2020. It's those slow, steady moves we've been doing.
Yeah.
Always wins the race, and that's exactly what we're doing. So, and obviously we need to do that because of where things are going in the state. So Jeff's done a great job with all that.
The nice thing is we've done a lot of nice things along the way too with staff and trying to increase salary, get things to where we more closely to where they need to be, and all of that. And so I've been happy that we've been able to balance those efforts, but at the same time not doing that proverbial one step forward, two steps back, because that's not a good strategy.
Anything else? All right, hearing nothing, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting adjourned. And it's right at 6 o'clock. We're ready for us to call the board meeting. February 26th. Start off. Pledge of Allegiance. Hudson Inman. I'm up to the microphone. You can lead us today.
Love it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Huddy. All right, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I do not have any adjustments to the agenda this month.
All right, recognitions we're going to hold off until February.
Yep,
Is that
so we're
correct?
going to honor our Students of the Month for January at our February meeting. Just trying to keep the meeting to actual routine business items, just to get everybody home safe at a good time.
Excellent. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none. We'll move on with the approval of consent agenda.
So we have our meeting minutes from our work session December 15th, our regular board meeting minutes from December 15th as well. Our allowance of claims. I'll get back to Mrs. Romer here for the financial report in just a second, as well as personnel reports part 1 and 2, which are on our website, posted on the door. Since Ed is not here, this is not a big item, but Ed was actually listed on the personnel report to be approved as a volunteer coach. But since he is not going to be here to vote tonight, we don't have to pull that out. If you don't want to, we can leave that in.
Anybody have any comments? Objections to that? I agree. Let's move on with it.
Okay. So the first, it's going to be like the first 8 pages of your packet. We're going to go through payrolls. Okay. The first one was dated December 5th. Total payroll of $493,140.60. And then, as usual, we have retirement and taxes with that. That's going to be likely page 3 and 4 that you're going to see coming up. Total on the retirement and FICA, $140,347.47. Scroll down a couple more pages. You're going to see the second regular payroll in December. It was dated the 19th. Total payroll $464,964.09. And again, we have those payroll taxes and retirement. That payroll is $134,500.25. We'll give you time to get to the list of prepays dated December 30th, 2025. Are you with me on that?
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that list there. As you look through the list before the meeting, did anyone have any questions about any of those last minute payments that we made for 2025? No? Okay. Total then for those claims was $243,588.09. And then next you're going to see just some regular prepays that I did for December 2025. I'm going to give you some time to get there. It's named Prepays December 2025. Are you with me?
We appreciate you.
Hey, no problem.
Got it?
If I'm not anything, I'm accommodating. Okay, as you take a look at that list, was there anything particular that jumped out that you may have a question about? No? Okay. The one big thing that you'll notice on here that you do not see all the time is a debt service payment. We make debt service payments, some in December, some in January, some in June, some in July, depending on the particular bond. In this case, it was her bond 2021, bond 2022, and then the GEO bond 2024. That combination of $1,914,175 was a combination of all three of those payments that we made in December.
Page 21.
So pending no other questions, the total prepays for December 2025, $2,225,628.46. And then the next list that we're going to go through is the claims dated today, January 26th, 2026. And at the top, you're going to see accounts payable voucher, register, short register. And when you get there, so we got thumbs up. All right. We're going to take a look at that list as you looked at that before the board meeting. Did anyone have any questions about any claims dated today? There's nothing really unusual on this list, but happy to answer any questions if you have. No? Okay. Total for the claims dated today, January 26, 2026, $384,379.87. And then finally, we're going to move on to the fund report. That's going to be about 5 more pages long. You're going to see it at the top. It says fund report. I'm going to go ahead and start going through some balances here. Education fund is the very first line. It is Fund 101. You're going to see the balance December 2025 was $3,826,584.65. Mr. Gibney just referenced that here just a little while ago. And then about 3 more lines down, we have operations. That's going to be Fund 300. Our balance at the end of December was $1,425,156.28. You'll see at the bottom it says page 1 of 4. Go ahead and go to page 3 of 4. The very last column is the current balance in all funds as of 12/31/2025. $10,243,451.63. And then next in your packet, which should be the very next page, is going to be our bank to fund balance. Essentially, that's just going to be our funds in comparison with our deposit statement from the banks. All those should match, and you can see that they do. Did anyone have any questions about any of that? Okay, we'll move on to the fund transfer report. So I just wanted to touch lightly that we did just finish up on our audit with State Board of Accounts. It was a very successful audit. We were doing a lot of things right. There's one thing that we need to improve upon, and it's our 8,400 transfer to 800. Essentially, without going down a major rabbit hole, we're going to be using another report that State Board of Accounts suggests that we do. Prepaid accounts is quite an animal, and there's some discussion about what qualifies as prepaid, et cetera, and so on. We won't go down that road unless you have questions, and I'm happy to answer it for you, but brace yourself. It's going to be a lengthy conversation. So essentially on this report, this fund transfer report, you see that every month. I do a transfer, okay? You may not see one in the summer because we do not have school lunch over the summer, and so we don't have to do one. But you'll see on here the November transfer was $40,526.75. That's going to be adjusted, and it's also going to be adjusted going back to July 2025. I need to make adjustments so our AFR, our annual financial report with State Board of Accounts, will balance, and we will not have an issue next time. So there's going to be some adjustments in the next few months that I need to do slow and steady on that. If you have questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, I'm happy to answer it. That is not nearly as complicated to explain, but I can't do everything at one time because it's probably going to be about a total of $40,000 that we're going to have to transfer back to the 8,400 account just to make sure we have everything right and balances are what they're supposed to be in those prepaid accounts, 8,400, and then school lunch 800. So anyway, we did have a great outcome on our audit, so that was good. But let's go back to this. We've got our fund transfer. You see that I did transfer $500,000 a couple of times, and essentially that's just to help us pay some bills that we do every month. And we did once again adjust the education to ops, so we stay within our 15%. We had to adjust that. And you can see it's considerably less than what it was for the preceding months. So total on the fund transfers for December 2025, $1,068,790.59. And then finally, we're going to go into some balances for the bonds. There were no new expenditures for bond 2021. Looking at bond 2022, once again, we're saving that balance to pay for retainage. We did have a retainage payment here in January. You're going to see that next month on the list here. We'll slowly but surely be depleting this balance of that 177,523, paying the retainage for projects. And then finally, we've got the fund detail report for GO 2024. As you can see on the last page, we're dwindling down on that balance. Mr. Gibbony and I spoke last week. The remaining balance will be going towards a security doors project and paving of parking lots in 2026. Or sealing, yeah. So, but that's something that he has planned. So essentially, you probably won't see a whole lot of action on here anymore until those projects happen. So pending questions, I'd like to submit for approval.
Okay, any comments, conversation, questions?
Thank you for walking us through.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was,
Yeah.
that was very helpful to follow.
Anything else?
Mhm.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any comments, conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
And once that audit is available publicly, we'll share that. We'll make sure the board shares that. It's been finalized, but it's not publicly available yet. So we'll kind of direct you to that, share that with you.
Okay. On to reports.
Yep. So we will be skipping over Assistant Superintendent report this month. She'll be reporting on those items in February. I just have a few things to report on this month. Audit. I wanted to share with the board. The Civic League, Greencastle Civic League, made a donation of $250 in support of helping us plant some trees. So we're going to put that money to good use. We have some trees in front of the middle school building that actually need to be cut down because they're dying or they're dead, but we'd like to replace them. And so that will help us replace those trees. Also, obviously, when school is closed, many think that, that the workers are gone and not working, but our staff has been here working really hard on trying to get our lots cleaned and cleared, our schools dug out, just trying to get our buildings and facilities ready for the return of students. So just like to thank those staff members for working terribly hard with that, and then certainly our teachers who are providing e-learning instruction, and principals, and then support staff for helping to continue to support kids. But the main thing I wanted to share with the board on tonight was kind of just kind of wrap up of where we ended up with our 2025 year end, and then kind of looking forward at our 2026 budget. Next slide, please. So the first slide that is shown here, something that I do, and of course this is all on our revenue report that you received as a part of your financial report. But if you look at that, what I have it listed for, particularly on this slide, I have the operations fund and the debt service fund. And then if you look at the yellow highlighted rows, where you see 1782 amount, that's essentially the amount that we used when we developed our 2025 budget, and it was certified by the DLGF. So for property tax, licensed excise tax, commercial vehicle excise tax, financial institution tax, local income tax, transfer for the operations fund, so that's that 15% of revenue from education operations, and then any miscellaneous revenues. And you can see the total on the right-hand side. Now, typically, we receive these funds in a June draw and a December draw, so that's why you kind of see the two rows there. Some of those monies come in a little bit more throughout the year, our lit dollars. But what I like to show this slide is because it shows whether we were to the red, we came up short with our estimate, or we're in the green to good. And so you can see for operations fund, we came up a little bit short overall, but that's not too drastically different than past years. And then same thing with debt service fund. You can actually see we came up a little bit to the positive, but it's just good to kind of track. And as we move forward in the following year budget, if we really come up short in one area, we might short our estimates for the following year. So just like to show that slide to you guys. Next slide, please. One other item to note, though, local income tax dollars. That's what's currently slated to go away in 2028. There is a bill out there that they've been talking about. I think it's still in committee about potentially delaying that to 2029. So still not great, but it would buy us a little bit more time to make some adjustments, because $316,000 a year is a lot of money. This next slide here is just strictly for our education fund. Go back one, please. For our education fund. So our state distribution, that's the amount that we receive in our checking account on approximately the 15th of each month. And then you can see we have some miscellaneous revenue columns. And so when Jimmy was asking earlier about where we put interest on income, some of that is accounted for in some of those columns. But we also have just some other fees and things like that, people paying for preschool. Those would be reported under miscellaneous income. Overall, obviously, we undershot our expected projection. That can be attributed mostly to just a decrease in ADM, but overall, it's not too drastically short. So we were pretty good with our estimates. And if you look over on the far right-hand column, this total revenue, projected revenue for all of our funds, received revenues, and you can see overall just over 400,000 short, which again is not the end of the world. But again, you don't want many years of bringing in less than expected. Next slide, please. There's a lot of information on this chart. I'm just going to point out just a couple of high-level things. The first row is just total annual revenue. I go back to 2015, bring it forward to 2025. You can see our year-to-date revenue decreased by roughly $816,000. The next line, total annual expenditures, increased by roughly $640,746.20. We obviously could count for some of that with the increases we gave to staff. We also know that we are now paying for curricular materials out of the education fund as well. So those are additional expenditures. The third row, this is really kind of one of the, I think, kind of the best ones to look at. Annual revenue versus expenditures. And you can see 2017, 18, 19 were significantly in the red. But 2024 overall pretty positive. 2025 we did take a little bit of a dip with overspending, but we kind of knew that when we were giving the staff increases. But again, when we're thinking about year to year and projecting out, you can't overspend year after year after year. So we'll have to account for that, and that's why we make adjustments in staffing based on enrollment, and we just scrutinize expenditures. If it's not needed, we wait or we don't buy it. Overall, the next row shows ending cash balance history, and again, it just kind of paints a good picture where you can see where we were a few years ago to where we are now. So we do know that our end of year cash balance decreased by just over $580,000, but we're still sitting with a nice reserve there as well. We track the 15% transfer because we don't want to end up on the naughty list. So you can see the total amount that we transfer from education fund to operations fund each year. And you can see for year 2025, we're right at 14%. So on that transfer report that Mrs. Romer talked about as a part of the financial report, I think our final transfer this year was $28,000, something like that. And normally it's like 180, or right around there. So we shorted that to make sure that we stayed within kind of that percentage that we wanted to. If that makes sense. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Next slide. Again, I won't go through quite. Just go back to the previous slide. The operations fund. Again, similar with the education fund. End of year cash balance increased by just over $289,000. Year to date expenditures increased by just under $300,000 in 2025. Everything we know is obviously getting more expensive. We had a few things that we had to fix that were unplanned, but yet at the same time, year to date revenue increased by just over $586,000, and we know that we ended with an increased cash balance in 2025. So that's helpful. The bond money to make some repairs, we do deal with some of those projects. It's obviously helped with that as well. So as those funds run out, we'll have to be a little bit more careful with our approach. Next slide, please. And then moving into the 2026 budget, obviously we have our finalized tax rate. I just leave 2025 up there as a comparison. When you go down to 2026, you can see we're in the fall, we were advertising a rate of $212.78, and then on the far right-hand side, when we came back with our certified rate, our tax rate is $1.2680, which is just about a cent under, a cent. Well, not quite a cent less than last year. But you can see that our debt service rate remained 0.6199 as it has remained, and that's something that we promised our taxpayers when we began the large project. Now, with all the legislative changes and Senate Enrolled Act 1, we're going to have to move from looking at rate to looking at levy because they're changing the game essentially. But I just wanted to share that kind of high level update with you. Anybody had any questions or anything?
Any questions, comments? Again, the Department of Local Government Finances has a good website as well. You can get on, navigate through. That one's a little bit more tricky to navigate through because it's all local government finances, but good information there too if you want to dive deeper into the DLGF as well. Anything else from your end, Joe?
That's all I have. Thank you. Actually, I'd like to thank the board. This is School Board Appreciation Month, and I just appreciate everything you guys do for our kids and our school community.
Appreciate all you guys do as well. All right, old business. Moving on, old business. There's none listed here. Move straight into new business.
Yeah. So this is another customary January meeting type thing. It is a request to cancel any outstanding checks 2 years or older. And in your board packet is a list provided by the middle school, high school ECA treasurer, as well as a list provided by Mrs. Roman. And so the board approves canceling those checks, then we will receive those funds into our corporation account.
Everybody have a chance to look at them? Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, need a motion to approve the cancellation of the outstanding checks.
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
And then I didn't know if the board would be comfortable approving these next three items kind of as a lump sum or grouping them, because we have 3 approval requests for overnight trips, and that's why they require board approval. I would like to add some context to item B. That's the overnight girls wrestling regionals that to Kokomo that no one's communicated to the board about because it wasn't possible to have that approved in time for the board meeting, so that's why you're approving it retroactively. The other 2 would be future trips. They provided all the documentation needed for the future trips, and obviously the previous trip that was already taken. They meet all the guidelines, and if the board would be comfortable approving all 3 together.
Did you vet, you vetted those and those are all inputted correctly? I have no issue. Anybody?
None.
All right, I think we can do them all as one then. All right, need an approval to, recommendation to approve the 3 overnight trips for the girls wrestling, boys wrestling, and the GHS DECA.
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Any comments, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
Those are all great opportunities for our kids. The
Absolutely.
athletic trips, but especially that DECA trip. It's a good experience.
We'll expect a full report.
All right, moving on. Looks like a donation.
Yep, got a couple of donations there. Jeff and Denise, they worked at Greencastle High School. They helped pay for the top 10% dinner each year. And so they have an amount of $1,500. And then SI Commercial Services, Greencastle High School Athletics girls basketball, the amount of $500.
Excellent. Appreciate those always. Any comments, concerns? All right, need a motion to approve the 2 donations.
Motion to approve.
Second? Second.
It's a big thing too.
A big thank you. Any comments other than those? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. All right, other business. Does anybody have anything? I will just add, I know that I've talked with Jeff about this as well, and I hope we can get this out there, but I would love to see some movement from our coaches to get some weight training, some sort of weight training at the middle school. So I will always push for that. I think we are behind the power curve there, and I want to make sure that our coaches get on board with that and start figuring out a way to make that happen. I know, Jeff, you and I had talked about it, and you're on board as long as the coaches start taking up those reins. It's something I think we need to push for, and I think they need to get on board with that. All high school coaches through their youth program, which we've made an effort, conscientious effort to give them the power to do so. So I did want to mention that. Anything else?
It was a very, very successful music outing this past weekend up at IMEA. We had honor band students and honor choir students all over the place.
Phenomenal.
Just absolute kudos to Mr. Hansen and Miss Munoz-Thede for getting the kids ready.
Excellent.
Fabulous job.
Anything else? Isaac? I got nothing.
No.
All right. That being said, I would like to make note that this is faster than Ned has done. Need a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments, questions? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Being adjourned.
Hey, Kelly, that was very helpful.
Oh, you're
doing that,
welcome.
Going through it, and that's honestly, it's probably, I don't want to make anything complicated. It's probably good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, I